They don't wait. Winners don't sit around hoping that some magical spark of motivation will show up to pull them out of bed, push them through the hard days, or light a fire in their soul. They understand that if they want results, they have to create the structure that delivers them. They don't leave success to chance, they engineer it. They build habits that don't rely on how they feel. They don't ask, do I feel like doing this today? They just do it because they know that discipline wins over feelings every single time. Motivation is fleeting. It comes and goes like the weather. But habits, those are permanent. They are your internal program, the invisible script that drives your life forward when no one is watching, when the cheers fade, and when the spotlight is gone. Winners take the power back from emotion and give it to commitment. They know that if they can build the right systems, the right routines, and the right habits, they won't have to rely on momentary inspiration. They'll have built a machine that doesn't stop. They don't scroll through videos trying to feel inspired. They lace up their shoes, they open the book, they make the call, they show up. Over and over again. It's boring sometimes, it's repetitive. But it works. It works because greatness isn't found in a one-time burst of energy. It's found in the daily grind. It's found in waking up every day and saying, this is who I am, this is what I do no matter what. Winners embrace the mundane, they master the basics. They know success is not about doing extraordinary things once in a while, it's about doing the ordinary things with relentless consistency. They build habits that keep them aligned with their vision even when life gets chaotic, even when they're tired, even when things aren't going their way, because their actions aren't based on mood, they're based on mission. They don't hope for change, they create it, one small action at a time, one decision at a time. They understand the compound power of discipline and they use it like a weapon. They stack wins. They stay focused. They do the hard things when it's hard to do them. And because of that, they separate themselves from the crowd. This is the truth. Motivation might get you started, but habits keep you going. And if you want to be great, truly great, you need to design your life so your actions aren't a choice, they're automatic. You don't have to think about showing up. You just do. You don't wait for perfect timing, you move now. That's what building habits does. It turns goals into routines, dreams into reality. You want to change your life? Start with one habit, then stack another and another. Soon you'll be unstoppable. Not because you're the most motivated person in the room, but because you've become the most disciplined. You've mastered yourself. That's the edge. That's the mindset of a winner. And that's how you turn potential into power. Motivation feels great in the moment. It's that fiery burst of energy when you're inspired, that electric jolt that makes you believe you can conquer anything. But motivation is fleeting. It comes and goes like a spark in the dark. You can't build an empire, transform your life, or achieve greatness on something that's inconsistent. The truth is simple and undeniable. Habits outperform motivation every single time. When the excitement fades and the adrenaline wears off, what's left? Most people retreat. They wait for the next wave of inspiration to come along, hoping for another boost. But high performers, the ones who dominate their goals and leave lasting legacies, they don't depend on motivation. They anchor their lives in habits, daily, intentional, relentless habits that show up even when they don't feel like it, because that's the difference maker. You see, habits are the system behind every transformation. They're the silent builders of momentum. Motivation might get you to the starting line, but habits carry you across the finish line. When things get tough, and they always do, it's your habits that decide whether you push through or fall back, whether you show up or shrink, whether you rise or retreat. Success doesn't come from the days you feel your best. It's earned on the days when it's hard, when the excuses are loud, when you're tired, when you're frustrated, when no one's watching. That's where habits step in. That's where consistency takes over. The reason most people don't win isn't because they're not talented, smart, or capable. It's because they haven't built the habits that carry them through resistance. You can read every book, listen to every speech, and watch all the motivational videos in the world, but if your life isn't structured around strong habits, you'll keep starting over again and again. That's the exhausting cycle. Motivation gets you excited, but when life hits, excitement fades. And without habits to hold you, you fall back into the old patterns that got you stuck in the first place. But here's the power of habits. Once they're locked in, they don't ask how you feel. They don't check if you're inspired. They just run. You've programmed your mind and body to do the work regardless of emotion. That's freedom. That's discipline. That's what it takes to build something extraordinary. Because the world doesn't reward what you start, it rewards what you finish. And you don't finish with bursts of motivation. You finish with systems, with consistency, with grit powered by habit. Winners understand this. They don't leave their progress to chance. They build rituals around their vision. They create structure so strong that even on their worst days, they're still moving forward. And the beauty of habits is that they compound. A little progress every day becomes a lot. A 1% shift daily doesn't feel like much in the moment, but stack that over weeks, months, and years, and suddenly you've created a life that once felt impossible. There's no secret to greatness. There's no magical feeling that suddenly makes everything easy. There's only the decision to commit, followed by the discipline to follow through. You want to master your craft? Build the habit of daily practice. You want a stronger body? Build the habit of training. You want peace of mind? Build the habit of mindfulness. The results will follow, not overnight, but always, because habits don't lie. You must stop negotiating with your goals. Stop waking up and asking yourself if you're in the mood. Show up no matter what. Build that identity. Habits do something motivation never can. They shape who you become, and that's the point. You're not just trying to do different things. You're becoming a different person. A person who doesn't wait for the perfect mood or the perfect moment. A person who decides to show up regardless of circumstances. Motivation makes you feel good. Habits make you unstoppable. One is emotional, the other is foundational, so if you're tired of stopping and starting, if you're sick of chasing motivation only to lose it days later, then draw a line. Say enough. Build the structure. Build the habits. Build the routine that makes quitting harder than continuing. That's how you win. Every breakthrough is built on a mountain of habits. Every transformation is driven by daily decisions done repeatedly. When you make habits your baseline, you eliminate the need for hype. You don't need fireworks when you have focus. You don't need energy when you have structure. You don't need permission when you've already decided who you're becoming. This is where the tide turns. This is where real change begins, not with a motivational quote, but with a repeated choice. You want to change your life. Start with what you do daily. Build habits so solid that even when you're at your worst, you still move forward. That's power. That's how winners win. That's how legacies are built, on the back of habits that refuse to quit. Emotions are powerful. They can fuel us, break us, inspire us, and distract us. But emotions are also unpredictable. One day you're riding high, fired up to take on the world. The next, you're questioning everything. That's the nature of emotion. It shifts. It changes with circumstances, with weather, with a comment, a doubt, a delay. But discipline doesn't flinch. Discipline doesn't wait for the perfect mood. Discipline shows up no matter how you feel. Too many people are ruled by their emotions. They chase dreams when they feel inspired. They make promises in the highs, then break them in the lows. They start something big when the excitement is there, but the moment pressure builds, or comfort whispers, or fear creeps in, they fold. Why? Because they depended on a feeling instead of developing discipline. But discipline doesn't care how you feel. Discipline is a decision. Discipline is a commitment. It's the anchor that keeps you grounded when the storm of emotion tries to knock you off course. Your emotions might get you moving, but only discipline keeps you going. Emotion is the spark, discipline is the engine. You don't get results by doing things when it's convenient. You get results by doing them when it's hard. When your body is tired, when your mind is screaming for comfort, when no one's watching, that's when champions are made. Not when it's easy, but when it's necessary. Discipline doesn't ask for your opinion. It doesn't wait for agreement. It simply acts. It becomes your personal standard, your way of life. It's what separates the talkers from the doers, because talkers ride the waves of emotion, but doers build boats of discipline. One stays reactive, the other takes control. And in life, the one in control wins. You can't lead yourself to greatness if you're always reacting to how you feel. One moment you're in, the next moment you're out. That inconsistency is a killer of progress. But discipline creates momentum. It builds trust within yourself. When you act in discipline, you're telling your future self, I've got you. I won't quit on you. That trust is power. It breeds confidence, clarity, and control. Ask yourself, do you act when it's time to act, or only when it feels good? Do you train when it's on the schedule, or only when you're energized? Do you push forward when it's hard, or do you look for the emotional escape hatch? The answers reveal your discipline, not your potential, because potential is useless without execution. And execution belongs to the disciplined. Discipline means doing what needs to be done, especially when you don't want to. It's the bridge between your goals and your results, between your dreams and your reality, between who you are now and who you're becoming. And that bridge isn't built on feeling, it's built on choice. Daily, repeated, intentional choices. The kind of choices that don't always feel good in the moment, but create a life you're proud of. If you're waiting for the perfect emotional state to act, you're going to be waiting a long time. There are going to be days when you don't feel like showing up. Show up anyway. There are going to be mornings when everything inside you wants to hit snooze. Rise anyway. There are going to be seasons when motivation is gone and fatigue is real. Push anyway. That's discipline, and that's what wins. Discipline is freedom. It's the freedom from chaos, from regret, from inconsistency. It's the freedom to trust yourself, to wake up knowing no matter how you feel, you will follow through. And over time, that creates a force that emotion could never replicate, a force called momentum. That's when you stop chasing progress and start creating it. That's when your results go from occasional to inevitable. So stop chasing emotion like it's your fuel. Build the habit of discipline. Make it your compass. Make it your guide. Because when you master discipline, you become unstoppable. You become someone who doesn't need to feel readied because you're already committed. You become someone who doesn't need hype because your habits are louder than your emotions. You become the kind of person who doesn't wish, hope, or wait. They execute. Discipline is the mindset that says, I don't care how I feel, I care about who I'm becoming. That's the voice that takes over when the excuses start talking. That's the voice that wins battles in the gym, in the office, in your personal growth, and in your mission. That's the voice of a warrior, not a worrier. And that voice only grows when you feed it with action, consistent, committed, disciplined action. Emotions will lie to you. They'll tell you it's okay to quit. They'll convince you it's fine to settle. They'll rationalize why you shouldn't push today. But discipline will always remind you of what you really want. Discipline is truth. Discipline is legacy. Discipline is what builds the unshakable life you're chasing. So make the shift. Stop worshiping emotion. Start mastering discipline. Because once you do, you'll stop relying on willpower